webinar today. If you can just take a second to write on the chat where you're, connecting from, that'd be great. I'm here in Miami. Robin, where are you from right now? Where are you located?
I'm in South Carolina.
South Carolina. That's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
While everybody, well, we're gonna wait a few minutes or a few seconds while everybody gets on. From
Hey,
Georgia,
Emily.
nice, awesome. Don't be shy. Where else is everybody else from? South Carolina, Tracy. Oh, it looks like a lot of people from Georgia.
I hope so. They're my friends.
Yep. Let's flip the Mira
Okay.
in Florida. That's great. Okay, so we're gonna get started. Um, in Philadelphia, nice, all over the U.S. We'll see if we see some international people. Okay, so hello everybody. Welcome to today's webinar. My name is Jose Renteria. I'm the founder and CMO of GrowHack, and today I'm joined by Robin. She's the co-CEO and founder of Mira. Robin, thanks for being here. Super excited to have you and to speak about Mira. I know that it's a great company. What you're doing is very exciting. I love everything that's happening with AI. So I think this is a great opportunity, and I thank everybody else for being here. So before we dive in, just for everybody to know, we do have team members monitoring the chat. So if you have any questions, just ask it. And then at the end of the webinar, we'll go into Q&A and we'll get all those questions answered, okay? So don't be shy, write them down. Now, let's get started. So with the webinar, what are we gonna talk about? Number one, who are the founders? Number two, what is Mira and how does it work? Number three, why you're targeting this multi-billion-dollar opportunity. Number four, your competitive advantage and what sets it apart. Number five, how would you generate revenue? What is your exit strategy? We'll go into a Q&A session and then we'll explain to people how you can make an investment. So let's get going. So Robin, you're very impressive, right? I know you well by now. You've managed, investment strategies for private equity in Dubai, Hong Kong, and you've also built chosen experiences, right, into a elite wellness and peak performance company. Can you share a bit about your journey and like what led you here today?
Sure. Thank you. I started out in law school and then I went and got my MBA from Oxford in the UK. And I focused in private equity. I was head of the private equity committee there. And then I moved directly to Dubai with a couple of my classmates and we started a private equity company. And we started investing in clean tech, mainly clean energy, clean water, things like this. This was way back in the day. I won't tell you what year. Um, but those of you who know. And then it got to where we would see a lot of deals, and we had some very interesting things happening at that time. But a key problem that I identified was one of our large companies, which was a waste to energy company. It actually collapsed because the main founder had a really bad day one day, and he wiped out 7 years of hard work that we had been doing. And that really surprised me, but obviously identified an opportunity where I realized that in private equity, when we're setting up risk algorithms, there's no variable in there for how the founder's doing, how the founder's managing their life, what's their level of health, and the key stakeholders in the company. So I decided to create chosen experiences to try and remedy this matter. So I spent 10 years with nutritionists, doctors, neuroplasticity guides and coaches, doctors, nutritionists, mental performance coaches, Olympians, Olympic performance coaches, and a large number of experts in all matters lifestyle, essentially. And we spent 10 years creating a program to help founders really perform at their best when they're dealing with the highest levels of uncertainty. Well, we quickly found that that actually applies to a lot of different people, professional athletes, Olympians, for example, also C-level business people who work at very high levels under very high stress, particularly internationally. And then we realized it actually applies to kind of everyone, like anyone who's wanting to just be their best or perform at their best. So then the next problem that I found, which was an opportunity, is okay, that's not really that scalable because we bring you in for a week and we teach you about how to be your best self, how to deal with stressful situations, how to set up your lifestyle to support you. And really, we can't be there with you in the moment, when in that key moment when something's going to go wrong. And that key moment when that founder had that bad day and made a series of very bad decisions, we wouldn't have been there with them at that time. So I was looking for something that could bridge that gap. And that is how we got to Mira. So something that's with you at all times and supporting you to be your best.
That's impressive. I like it's honestly amazing how you went from, school to private equity and then moved into Mira because you noticed this like hole in the market, right? And because you saw it firsthand working with all these founders. That's great. Can you tell me a little bit about your co-founder? I know he's impressive as well.
Sure. His name is Scott Cote, and he actually found me while I was still running Chosen back in 2019. And we started having preliminary conversations because we were going to see about pivoting Chosen or at least combining the products together because he was very interested in biomechanical movement patterns, which was a lot of what we did at Chosen. And also, he's been in that industry for over 18 years and he has a significant level of medical experience. And so he was trying to find algorithms and build algorithms to be able to support people in their everyday life. And in doing so for over 10 years now, he's been creating products to support this cause. So he's created something called Divergent Minds, which actually uses AI to identify how your brain actually works and then align that with ideal career choices for you. He's created a couple of other public GPTs around MindQuest, which is something that is focused on neuroplasticity and brain health, and also Beat Sage, which is identifying your emotional state and then pairing it with music that can help you in that moment. So he's very aligned as far as taking care of the individual person, helping them to perform at their best. And he's got a lot of experience doing it. So I'm very happy to work with him. And most importantly, he's the creator of Mira. So he's the one who went through our proprietary and built our proprietary assets, which are 36 and building. He's still going agents that are setting up and connecting with our digital twin system, which are all the key technology components of Mira.
That's awesome. You two are a super team, right? You came from working with founders, from him working with AI. You're getting together to create this great company. I mean, that's amazing. Now, for
Mhm.
for everybody that's here, can you, in simple terms, explain like what is Mira?
Sure. The simplest way I can put it is Mira is your AI coach that keeps you in your best zone. She's going to create a digital twin of you and she's going to be able to track data points, which are way more data points than anyone else is tracking in the market. And she's going to give you personalized support. She's going to learn what you like, what's important to you, what kind of lifestyle you have, what are your stressors, and most importantly, what are your objectives, and she aligns all that for you and she gives you personalized feedback on an ongoing basis. She's available 24/7, and everything that she does and every interaction that you have with her, she learns from and she's only speaking directly to you. So no population advice given around here, which is something that's come up a lot in social media these days. But this is specifically only personalized to you and it has scientific underpinning. So it's very important to have that part.
Awesome. One of the things you told me when we were speaking is how seasoned investors see this as a new category, right? It's not just any category. You are one of the first to be in this, well, you are leading the category because you're creating one. So, can you explain how you're creating this category, why it's different from what it exists?
Sure. So it's called whole person intelligence. And the idea seems very obvious and simple, but we're not sure why no one's latched onto it before us. But the context of your life matters. The daily events in your life matter. How many times a day you're having stress events matters. And then what you're doing to to recover from those stress events matters. What you ate for dinner or breakfast, it matters, and how you slept matters. And there are many variables: the kind of relationships you have with your family, with your friends, the kind of relationship you have with yourself, and all of these things come into play to determine how effective you are in life, how effective you are in making decisions, particularly in high stress key moments with high levels of uncertainty. All of these play a factor into where you're at, how you're doing in that moment. And that's going to affect what type of decision you make and how much information you can take on board and process. So, what zone are you in, which is what we call it? We call it your smart zone. What zone you're in is really important. And that's something that Mira is going to identify. Mira is going to support you. So, let's just say you have a big meeting coming up and it's very important. You're going to say, "Hey, Mira, what zone am I in?" And she's going to reflect back to you based on all the information that you've given her that day. And she might say, "Hey, you're actually not in the best zone right now. Let's take 5 minutes and I'm going to walk you through an exercise that's going to get you in the best zone for what you're about to go into, because I know this is an important meeting that you're going into."
That's awesome because once you're fresh and you can think, you actually perform so much better. I mean, I think we can all agree with that, right? Like when you're good to go. So that's amazing. Let's talk about timing. Like, why is it so? Why is now the time? AI is blowing up. So explain that.
Well, that's the answer, right? AI is blowing up. It's a multi-hundred-billion-dollar market that is not slowing down anytime soon. Almost every industry is moving into AI. So, this is definitely the place to be at this time. Over 50 million people, they already use wearables. So, they're already tracking, they're already saying that this is something that's important to them. However, those trackables and wearables are telling you what's happening after the fact. And they're not really giving you personalized data. They're giving you what's called population data, which means they're basically advising to the mean, which is the average of what everyone's doing. And I think we all know that that's not really very helpful for us, because that puts the responsibility back on us to remember that yes, that's the mean, but I'm special because I have this injury, or I'm something significantly different because I have this other thing as well. So I think that there's a big shift in the wellness and preventative wellness and cognitive performance market. And whole person intelligence is the natural next step. I think if you think about it for just a second, we'll all agree that the market's going to go here anyway, because we all know that these things matter. If we didn't, there wouldn't be this huge trackable market.
Right. Personalization is the future, right? Everything is going to be personal, and that's what you're doing, and you're ahead, right? So that's important. That's great. Tell us a little bit about the competitive landscape, and why is this kind of a big opportunity with it?
Yeah. So I mentioned this a little bit. You have wearables, you have Fitbit, you have Aura Ring, you have Apple Watch, you have these things. And then you also have meditation apps like Calm or Headspace. And so Mira's putting these things all together. She doesn't have to replace them necessarily, but they do give an indication that the market is big. They do give an indication that there's a high demand for this. And each of those companies that I just mentioned, they're all moving towards trying to develop something like Mira. But because we're coming from such a different point of view, we've put it together first. And I think we're all they get one-sided perspective from what's happening if it's just your sleep, or it's just your diet, or it's just about your fitness routine. But at the end of the day, this is the challenge that I found with Chosen, which is that I can bring in a nutritionist, I can bring in a performance coach, I can bring in a fitness coach, I can bring in a sleep coach, I can bring in a therapist, I can bring in all these people, and I can talk to all of them, and they can talk specifically to me for personalization to me. However, in that moment, it still comes back the responsibility on me to determine which of these things is the most important thing to do right now, because I can't do all of them. I see these things where they say a lot, it's just 5 minutes a day. Yeah, but it's 100 things 5 minutes a day. And how do I know which one's the most important for me right now in this moment? It's going to give me the most bang for my buck. And so those other competitors, they're not there yet. They don't have the whole person intelligence perspective. I think they're heading that way in a few years. I think they're putting a lot of money and time into it, but we're there now and we're already ahead.
That's awesome. And like one of the things that we saw was that a lot of the people that do use these apps, they stop using them, right? Because it's what you said, it's not personal. It's like, oh, you have to get better sleep. Great. But you're gonna tell them, hey, this is why you need better sleep, because you messed up here, 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 and throughout the day. You improve, right? They can't do that. And that's because of all the agents that you have available and like you said, all the coaches that are in the app to teach you how to be better. So that's
Mhm.
great. You're live in development right now. So can you talk us through your traction, your how you're accelerating and all
Yeah.
that?
So the 36 core agents are already established. We're right at the finish line. We're just doing some finishing touches on the user interface and the front end of what's happening. So developing the dashboard, which I expect to actually be done this week. So we're right at the end of the whole process to get this into a demo mode and into a minimal viable, lovable product mode. And we'll be there within the next couple of weeks. So we're at the finish line. The all the formulas have been verified. The structure of how the AI works has been verified. And we're really excited to launch it into the market really, really soon.
That's awesome. And when you talk to these seasoned investors, right, what have they told you that they like about this?
The main thing that I think a lot of them are excited about is that it's preventative wellness and cognitive performance, which means that we're not having to do a lot of FDA approvals and things like that, which are going to give you a huge time lag. And as we all have seen, AI is moving at the speed of light. So that time lag, by the time you get something approved, there's going to be new technology that's already replaced you. So we're able to launch directly into the market. It is important for us to just mention that we are very committed to privacy. Your privacy is going to be yours. We're not selling data. We're not using it for anything else. If and at any time in the future that were to be an option, it would be 100% something that you would opt into. But that's one of the biggest things we've invested in is the security and ensuring that the privacy is there.
That's amazing. It's so important right now, right? Every company is moving towards privacy.
Mhm.
So you did talk about this a bit, but let's go into more detail. Like what sets you apart from everybody else, right? What sets you apart? What makes you win?
Well, we're using a multi agent system, which a lot of people are starting to build now, but there are some challenges that we've overcome already that other people are going to run into. It's really interesting because we actually have a physiological foundation under Mira. So Mira is not just saying, "Hey, this is your variable heart rate. Hey, this is how much water you drank." It's much more than that. We're actually predicting and running simulations on your energy distribution. So, how your body and how your cells distribute energy throughout the day. That's what we're basing this on. So, we have an agent that's a digestive system agent. We have a brain health agent. We have a cardiovascular agent. So each of those agents are considering all of your personal factors from that singular point of view. And then they all come together to a master kind of agent who is then incorporating and deciding which ones, how all that interacts with each other and which pieces are the most important for you given all the variables of your lifestyle. So that's a huge difference. I've not seen anyone in the market doing anything close to that. And I've done a lot of research. So if anyone's seen anybody, send them to me because I'd be super interested. But I haven't seen anyone even close in the space so far. Also, we have a ton of experience in biomechanics and neurophysiology, and it's not from uh, a traditional point of view. The important thing here is that whole body intelligence, whole person intelligence, which is based on the fact that we're a whole system. And I think when we go to our cardiologist and he only talks to us about our heart and our cardiovascular health, it can feel frustrating because our cardiovascular health directly affects our brain health. It directly affects every aspect of our body and our being, but they haven't really been putting it together yet. And so that's why we're breaking through with a whole new category of AI, which is viewing your body as a whole and taking into account all the variables that happen throughout your day and in your life, particularly stress. Because if you look at almost all health events, there's a stress component that can at least aggravate it, if not straight up cause it. So we're really tackling that to help you understand stress and the actual impact that it has on you, and you'll be able to see it directly in your day based on how you respond to situations and what your data points and variables are as well. So Mira's, we named her this because she's mirroring back to you. So she's tracking all of your information and then giving it back to you in a very personalized format.
Yeah, I mean that's amazing. That sounds great. Um, Tell us a little bit about how you're going to generate revenue.
Yes, that part's exciting. So this is a subscription model. So it is a tiered subscription model. There will be a base level, which we do want to be accessible to most people. And then as you know, if you're a professional athlete or someone who's going to use Mira at a much higher level and you need more interaction and more support and guidance, there'll be tiers for that as well. We're also looking at enterprise licensing and also R&D licensing, both of which are have huge potential. As I said before, in clinical studies and things like that for medical trials, they don't have a way to take into account all the lifestyle factors. They ask you usually like a little quick form. And a lot of times we don't remember things specifically. Like we think we forget that we had a cold 3 weeks ago or whatever. And Mira's not going to forget. Mira's going to remember everything. So she's there to support you. But yeah, so a model to support enterprise licensing, which is also going to help with corporate wellness as well, because I do think it's important for large companies to support their team. And obviously, it's a benefit to everyone if everyone's working at their best.
For sure. I mean, that's great. So you have three ways to make revenue, right? From the regular user, from corporate, and then licensing. And, I mean, I personally love the enterprise. I feel like it moves very fast while you acquire customers. So that's
Hmm.
great. Can we talk a little bit about the exit strategy, right? I know everybody wants to hear this. Everybody always loves the exit strategy.
Well, I think we've already been speaking to a few people about strategic acquisition potential. So I think that we're really knocking on the door of something really interesting. I think it has a lot of applications and a lot of unique ways. We happen to be entering the market into this specific space just because it's my passion and my co-founder's passion. But the uses for this are pretty endless. If you just start to think about and kind of daydream about how this could be used in a number of different settings, I mean, there's really a lot. There's a lot of potential. So I think there are a ton of strategic partnerships out there and people that would, once we go on the market and we're able to demonstrate trust and show how she adapts and gives specific personalized feedback to each person based on their digital twin, I think we're going to get a lot of offers, a lot of big offers.
That's awesome, for sure. There's a lot of acquisitions in the space.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we've gotten close to the end. So before we jump into Q&A, I want everybody to know that, I mean, there's a lot of questions already being asked, but if you can continue asking questions because we're getting close to the end and just so Robin can answer everything. Okay. So before we go into the Q&A, Robin, do you have anything that you want to just recap really quickly and tell everybody here, what they should know, what they should remember.
Yeah. So Mira is here to empower smarter, healthier, and better decision making in real time. And so that really applies to everybody. So the market is huge. I think there's been a huge interest in cognitive performance and preventative health as of late with the trackables and the wearables, as we've said. So the market's proven and it's there, and there's a clean place for us to go and follow through. And as I said, it's not that we're even battling with these other competitors. They're just going to connect right into Mira. So Mira is going to do a better job of interpreting their data for you specifically. So that's a beautiful entry point for us. And we're very unique in that we have whole person intelligence. So we're considering all aspects of you. Every aspect of your personality is going to be taken into account with Mira. And the more you interact with her, the more she's going to learn about you. And then so she is there as your personalized guide 24/7. And we are excited to see you and work with you and partner with you, anyone who's interested in getting involved, because I think it's a huge opportunity.
That's awesome. Great recap. All right, let's jump into Q&A. There's a lot of questions. Let's see if we can get through them all. Jamie is asking, I'm really into performance. Can Mira integrate with wearables?
So, yes, as I just mentioned, in the very first demo version, she will not yet, but within about a month after that, she will. So, any wearable that gives any regular data, that includes also blood work that you get back from your doctors, DNA profiles, etc. So, the more information that you're willing to give Mira, the better. And she's going to be able to take all of that into account on a regular basis.
Awesome. Matthew's asking, love it. Why can't I do it on my existing AI platforms? Any moat?
So yes, so the big one with plain GPT is that it doesn't have memory, which it will end up having memory down the road. But then even if it has memory, it doesn't have the agents. So it doesn't have expert agents about your digestive, about your cardiovascular system, and it doesn't have a way to take all of your data, put it into a digital twin that's only about you, and then have some agents that are trained in very specific ways to interpret all of that data and make it applicable just to you. So we call it an expert knowledge system. So that's missing in GPT. GPT, as we know with the LLM, is basically just looking for the mean, of everyone that's interacting with it. And some of those are experts and some of those are not. So this is only going to bring you expert, scientifically proven guidance and advice, not general memes or population medicine, which is what most things are doing currently in the market.
Right, and you're not, and you're very private focused, right? So you're not sharing anything, and you have
100%.
the experience of working with high level CEOs, so you understand what people need. So
100%.
that's great. Next question would be: can Mira help athletes overcome anxiety and stress before leading into performance events?
100%. So I personally have a background in kickboxing as a competitive athlete as well. So that's always on my mind. And I think honestly, it led to this point because one of the scariest moments of my life is walking into a ring to fight another person, and that is one of the highest level stress events you could possibly have. It's equivalent with performing at the Olympics, but even at the Olympics someone's not trying to hit you. So yes, that's probably the actual core reason that we've built Mira, is to be able to support anyone that's just about to go into some period of time where they really need to show up and be at their highest level. That is exactly what she's designed for and exactly where she's going to perform her best.
Awesome. Next, how does Mira make revenue? Well, we already went over that one, but maybe you do a quick recap.
Yeah, so Mir's a subscription model. There'll be tiered versions of it. And then we're also going to be pursuing enterprise contracts and also down the line R&D licensing as well.
Awesome. How do you see this becoming a category leader compared to Fitbit, Calm, and other apps?
Yeah, so I think it'll be a category leader in whole person intelligence because no one else is doing it yet. Do I think that they're going to follow and that they're probably already heading in our direction? For sure. I think that they're coming into it, but as of this point, they have not cracked what we've cracked. They haven't developed all the algorithms. We've been working on these algorithms. Scott, my co-founder, has been working on these algorithms for years, and we've been verifying them and refining them, and that's without Mira. Then you add Mira to that, she's going to be constantly refining. And so we're going to be ahead inherently. It will take them some time to catch up. And then our plan is obviously to stay out front. But there's a huge barrier, which is time, the type of expertise that it needs to, one, bring all the different types of agent expertise to the table, and then someone to be able to connect it, which actually, viewing the body as a whole system, is, it's quite rare to find someone who can do that and also think and build structures in AI and in technology to be able to replicate that.
That's awesome. And then the last question, anybody else can ask questions, by the way, is how do you manage and control hallucinations for Mira?
Yeah, so that's a big question. A lot of people are definitely trying to crack that. The way that we've done so is that we basically put all of our LLM interactions are put into what we call an expert knowledge system. And so that's why it's going into an agent. So an agent can use the LLM to gather information, but then it has to verify it and it has to go through certain rules that we've put into place through the expert knowledge system, and each agent has to do that. And then we have a master agent also double checking behind that as well. So it's all based on putting guardrails in place and making sure that everything that is presented to a user of Mira is science backed. And there's an agent that's also checking that to verify that nothing's going out that's, something that's not relevant or not appropriate for what this user is asking, or what's happening in that circumstance for them.
Awesome. All right, so let's tell everybody how you can make an investment. Before that, I do want to say, like, Robin, congratulations. You've obviously done so much, right? One of the things that I've talked to a lot of founders, and one of the things that matters when you are making an investment is you're not just investing in the company, you're investing in the team, right?
Mm.
And you too have both sides of it, right? You have the investment side that right? And you've worked with founders, and you know what works and what didn't, because you were in private equity, right? And then Scott is bringing the technical side, right? So you
Mhm.
have what you need to be successful. You have both angles covered. And I think Mira is great, right? It's like the internet, right? When the internet started, internet companies started blowing up. Now AI starting, and AI companies are going to start blowing up, and you're leading a new category that makes sense, right? There's obviously a hole in the market, right? When you wear all those platforms, like you said, like Fitbit, Apple Watch, they're so basic, they don't really help. And you're going to really tell people what's good and what's bad. And I think that's very strong. I'm super excited, and I'm definitely going to use it. Now, can you tell everybody how to make an investment with New Hope? What are the steps and what you got to do to get there?
Sure. We're going to put a link in the chat. It'll probably also come to you in an email afterwards. So you click that, there's a login. We are working with Funding Hope. So the interesting thing about Funding Hope is that they only help fundraise for people that are working towards UN sustainability goals. So that's really exciting. So we're working with them. You're going to click login to invest and create an account. That'll take your email and you creating a password. So that's super simple. And then you just hit next and start to make decisions about your investment. The minimum is $250. So it's nothing big or crazy. And if you want to show support, that would be great. It takes you less than a few minutes just to fill it out. You will need your ID, but other than that, it's really fast. I will let you know we only opened a small portion of funding to this crowdfunding operation. So that's $124,000. So we'll probably cap out quickly, and we don't plan to open any more funding back up to the public after that at this time. So if you're interested, it's a huge opportunity, and we'd love to have you on board. And yeah, let me know if you have any questions. I'd be happy to jump on a call and offer any support that you may need as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, for being here. The investment link is in the chat. You'll receive an email shortly and an SMS in case you want to make an investment. And if you're investing a larger check size, you can, of course, get on a call with Robin. Again, thank you all for being here. Robin, thank you for being here. Very knowledgeable. I'm super excited to see what you do with this.
Thank you.
All right. Bye
Bye,
bye.
guys. Good to see you all. Thanks for coming.